Hi, Dr. Becky here. Today I want to talk about a simple mindfulness technique that's portable and easy to learn, and it's the stop technique. So, oftentimes when we're really stressed, we get really pressured, we get reactive, and we are on what some people call automatic pilot. We're just like it's on a train and we're just going and doing. And so, one of the things that we know is if we can get off of that and come into a more centered place, that we can be much more responsive. We can act wisely and we can reduce some of our stress. So, Viktor Frankl is credited with saying the following, and you'll see the quote up there. Between stimulus and response, there is a space. And that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. So, mindfulness and the stop technique in particular give you a chance in the middle of that stressful situation to get off of that pressured place and come into a space where you can have a more reasoned response to whatever is going on. So, the acronym STOP stands for the first is just simply stop what you're doing. The second is to take a breath, and usually it means more than one breath, and you take as many breaths as you need at that point. And you breathe in a particular way, and that is that you consciously and gently take deeper breaths and you slow the breath out on the way out as you breathe out. So, deep breath in, slow breath out. It's a way of centering yourself again, of stopping the stressful kind of mode and coming into the present. And then O stands for observe, where you take a moment to check in with yourself. And this is a kindly check-in. That is that, like a friend, you ask yourself, how you doing right now? So you might notice what emotions are present and whether or not they're changing at all. You might notice what's on your mind, the thoughts that are going through your mind. Not so much to get caught up in them, it's not to analyze them, it's just as an observer. So you're taking this almost like a science perspective, experiment perspective, where you're observing your experiences. It's not that you're cutting off from them, it's not that you're disassociating from them, but you're giving yourself just a little space to observe. And then you notice and observe what's happening with your body. And in particular, as you're doing the stop method, you might look for places of tightness and tension that you might not even have noticed before. And then the P stands for proceed, and part of that is to give yourself a chance to using your breathing to maybe let go of some of that physical tension and tightness if possible. But proceed also talks about with that more centered perspective that you have, just getting yourself out of that stressful space for a moment and getting into a more centered space gives you that Viktor Frankl idea of being able to choose your response. So proceed has to do also with asking yourself, what is needed now? What do I need to do next? It may be the same thing that you were doing. It may be that you realize, hey, maybe I can do things a little differently. I can slow down, or I can choose to do something else. Maybe you need to take a walk and give yourself a little bit of relaxation. But that is up to you to decide what is needed now. And from that more centered space, you're much more likely to make a wise decision than just a pressured one. So let's practice. It's easy when you're first learning easiest to practice sitting down and to practice with your eyes closed. So if that feels comfortable, go ahead and do that. And just by doing that, you've stopped whatever else you were doing. And obviously, in this case, you stopped watching the video. In ordinary life, you would just be stopping. You take a breath. And so take a deep breath in And then as you release your breath, see if you can gently slow it down a little bit. Deep breath in and slow breath out. And if you were doing this yourself without the guidance, you would take as many rounds of deep breath in, slow breath out to help you come into the present. And as you are doing your breaths, if you can allow your attention to be focused just on your breathing, and that is that you allow yourself to let go of whatever else was on your mind, and you come to just this moment where you just focus on your breathing. And then allow your attention to come into noticing any emotions that are there for you. And see if you can bring a kind attention to whatever you find. You might find that you're discouraged or stressed or anxious or depressed or unhappy. You may find that you're happy. It doesn't matter at this moment in terms of this technique. The idea is to observe and to notice what you are feeling. A lot of times we don't even notice what we're feeling. So just notice what it is for you right now. And then shift your attention to noticing what's on your mind, what thoughts are going through your mind. And see if you can watch them rather than getting caught up in them. So you're just noticing what it is. It takes a little practice to get better at this. And so if it's a little uncomfortable or you don't quite know how to do it, it's okay. You're just noticing the thoughts that are going through your mind. And then check in with your body right now. Maybe do a scan from the top of your head through your shoulders and mid-body, arms, hands, lower torso, legs and feet at your own pace when you're doing this yourself. And particularly let your attention be drawn to any places that might be tight or tense. And again, bring a kindly attention, a supportive attention to whatever you might find. And then as part of the transition to proceed, you might see if you can breathe into any places of tightness and tension and breathe out from that spot. So, for example, if you notice that your shoulders are tight and tense, you might see if you can visualize the breath going in through your nose all the way down to your shoulders, and then releasing your breath back through the nose on the way out. As you release the breath from your shoulders, you'll also see if you can gently release any tightness and tension that you find there. So in through the nose, down to the place of tightness and tension, and then back up from that place, out through the nose, releasing as much as is possible. You're not trying to force anything to happen. Just allowing the breath, the deepness of the breath, the slowness of the breath, to bring some little bit of relaxation to those places that are tight and tense. And again, when you're doing this by yourself, you can take as much time as you need. And then you, from this more centered position, you ask yourself, what is it that I need to do now? What is needed next? And give yourself some moments to decide what that might be. And you might also set an intention to move forward in your day from this more centered position. Then when you're ready, you can open your eyes. So This is really simple. You can do it in 30 seconds. You can move through it. You can take 5 minutes or however long you need. But it's a really simple way to help center and ground yourself. And I hope you find it helpful.